I've been with my girlfriend for 2 years, but the last year has been filled with constant arguments. We tried everything, communication, therapy, and compromise, but nothing seemed to fix it. And then I found out she'd been cheating. A little backstory to my relationship. So Eve been with this girl for 2 years now, and I love her with all my heart. But for the last year we have been fighting and arguing almost on a weekly basis. And we have tried everything from communicating more, therapy, tried to get less mad at each other's actions, and a lot more. But I'm having a particularly hard time pretending nothing happened one time this last summer. Now, what happened was that we were under tensions all summer and were fighting a lot. And both of us have planned to go once on vacation separately with our friends or friend groups, and once together only me and her. She was the first to go with only her one girl, friend from her college, and everything was okay at first. But we ended up fighting and breaking up the day after she got there while I was still at home. Here is where the interesting part starts. In that one day that she was there, and that we were talking, she had gone to a party or club 2 times. Though I had told her I don't like her going to parties or clubs that much. At home, she maybe went once in a month or month and a half, and I never complained. I just told her that to set boundaries. But yet she totally didn't give a fuck and even said that she intended to go every day multiple times a day before we broke up on the first day. The breakup was over something silly, as always, so I'm not going to go into it, as it doesn't hold any weight over her actions or mine. During the breakup things were normal. I was nearing my last straw and definitely didn't expect to be the one to contact her first. But as she returned home after 7 days and a couple of more days without contact, I sent her a message or called her to talk, so we could break up normally, and not while she was in another country. We met up and talked, and one thing led to another, and as always I ended up wanting to fix things with her, but this time she was hesitant and wanted us to be broken up for another month more or less for her to think about everything. I respected her decision and didn't push it, but as we hung out more and the spark came back little by little, we ended up reconciling and talked about her vacation. That's when we talked about her partying and how many guys hit on her while she was there. She told me about a few guys that she turned down, but one guy she mentioned she befriended while she was there, and he was also from our country and on vacation, and also in the apartment directly under hers and her friends. She didn't talk about him all that much, but for some reason I had my suspicions. The next time we hung out, we got to talking about the guys that hit on her, and I respectfully asked if she would show me messages with this dude. By the way, we never go through each other's phones or asked each other to show messages, and as I asked that, she became nervous and my heart dropped. She started shy smiling, saying she doesn't want to, and when I pushed it she kept saying this is a bad idea, and you're going to get mad, as in me. At the start the messages were normal and just friendly, but quickly turned for the worse. As I went up, there was a moment where she and her friend were at a club, and some guy was flirting with them and was making them uncomfortable, and she called that guy and told him to come, and that SHE not the both of them needed him there. That's the exact moment my stomach started twisting. I was just smiling and my hand started shaking as I was holding her phone. She noticed and warned me not to go further. I of course went. They hung out every day, went to each other's apartments, but according to her, his friend group along with her friend were also there every time. Went to clubs together, but not his whole group. Only him and her friend. And the part that broke me, they started sending each other hearts after every third sentence, as well as good morning and good night texts. Only thing that was missing in those messages was an I love you, and that should sum up how those texts looked. She knew him for 3 days. I shed a tear or two and confronted her. We were broken up, but only for 3 days at that point when she started texting hearts, and she was in another country. I told her how hurt I was that for the last 30 fights, I was always the one who wanted to fix things and didn't want to give up, and over a silly breakup she goes and does this. Told her how much I felt betrayed that she didn't even try to fix things with me or contact me, but was already saying good morning and good night texts to another dude. Even though we were broken up at the time, I felt extremely cheated, as we had broken up the same way a couple of times before, but we both knew it was silly and that we would get back together. But this time she did this. She kept sending hearts to him and flirting with him, and even on 2 occasions made plans with him back home. The texts continued up until the morning when I called her to talk, and her last text with him was after we got back together, and she said she got back with me and couldn't talk to him anymore. If I remember correctly, I think she even apologized she couldn't talk with him anymore. I broke down and damn near started crying to think someone I loved so much and who claimed loved me more than anything could do something like that. I can't help to explain it, but she isn't the type to cheat. She doesn't party that much and doesn't have bad friends, is very good in her classes, and just generally isn't slutty or anything of the sort. So it was hitting me heavy what she has done. She started crying and saying nothing happened, and they didn't even kiss, only hung out, and continuously told me she planned to stop talking to him, turn him down after a couple of days, and planned to do it step by step by making the convo smaller each time until they stopped talking. But that doesn't make that much sense when you're the one also flirting with him and making plans with him back home. She had every chance to not flirt or say something different or change the theme, and instead, she took every chance to do every single one of those things. It would make sense if on his every advance, she didn't reciprocate and turned him down, thus lessening the convo, but instead she was prolonging the conversation and was the one making first contact on a number of occasions, asking about his day, what he was doing, who was winning the match he told her he was watching. One other thing was off. Other guys hit on her before, and I got to see how she talks to those guys and how she stops talking to them. She is always cold to their advances and often takes subtle jabs at their flirting, making fun of them until they get bored and stop talking to her. She says she does this because she feels bad and anxious and feels better when they themselves stop wanting her. But with this guy, it was the opposite. She was careful how she talked, flirted back, and everything I stated before. She even got mad once and said, "So what if we did kiss? I still chose you in the end." She doesn't understand that that's not the point. I told her I want to believe her, but it's never going to be that easy or the same level of trust again. And as we're in a bit of a rough patch currently, I've been having more thoughts about this and can't help but feel we've grown distant and things are never going to be the same or at least above well. Yet here we are still trying to stay together. I know this is a long-ass story, but I had to get it off my chest, and I'd like to hear you people's opinions on this situation and whether she is lying or telling the truth. Also, I'm sorry if my spelling is bad in some areas. It is not my first language.